Hello and welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is our review for Rah Rah Rooster, and with me today to go rah rah at this short is my good friend S.C. McPeter. Say hi.
Well, hello, Dad. Thanks for inviting me over.
A few bits of info to get underway for this one. So as mentioned, this is a review for Rah Rah Rooster, released on the 25th of August 1956. It's the 778th in the series and it's directed by Bob McKimson. You can find this beautiful restoration on the Looney Tunes Golden Collection Volume 6 DVD set. I have a link below to that set. I'm currently using a high-definition version of this short. Hopefully that'll make its way on physical media at some point. You won't find it on YouTube unless Warner Brothers themselves choose to upload it. It is under copyright, but in case you haven't seen this one, you see Foghorn. He's having, well, the time of his life, really, if you think about it. But he gets a telegram saying that his old pal, Rhode Island Red, is coming over for a visit. Foghorn's not happy. Rhode Island Red ends up making it there, and yeah, there's just a whole bunch of gags revolving around the two of them. And that's it. So, not much to it, but it's fine for what it is.
Yeah, this one's a fairly simple cartoon. We're definitely past McKimson's peak, but, you know, he still gets some good enjoyment. And of course, the situation at least sells itself.
Exactly. And the fact of the matter is, and I've said this a million times, I know I'm going to sound like a broken record to long-time viewers of this channel, but Foghorn series is hands down McKimson's best series. Even when the budgets were slashed, he had the quote-unquote lesser animators, these were still his best. And this one is a great one, I really like it. But we do have a few bits of trivia for this one, where you've heard Rhode Island Red, you've heard it quite a few times actually in the Foghorn short, so I'll mention again, that is actually a breed of chicken. It's one from, well, Rhode Island, hence the name, and that was done in the late 19th century by crossbreeding certain breeds of chicken. I'm not going to get into crossbreeding chickens here, but that's what it is.
This isn't Anthony's Poultry Talk.
No, definitely not. Although that might be more popular than this channel, I don't know. We'll never know.
Maybe.
Maybe. But this is also one of the few times that Foghorn actually wins in the end. Usually he has his comeuppance by the dog or Henry or whatever, but no, this is one of the times where he actually wins in the end. But also the voice. Of course, Mel Blanc does Foghorn Leghorn, I mean, that's a no-brainer there, but we have Daws Butler. He's doing the voice of Rhode Island Red, and, well, what does he sound like here?
In on me now. Here's Red!
It's his Jackie Gleason voice, and this is one of my favorite Daws Butler performances in the Warner cartoons. Usually I think he's kind of miscast in the Warner cartoons, but here I think he does an excellent job as Rhode Island Red.
It's perfect. I really like it. He just has that attitude about him that he was the best at everything in college, he still is the best at everything. He just has that attitude about him. It's a great performance. Up until this point, you had mainly Stan Freberg doing a lot of the other voices, but his popularity was soaring on other things. You'll hear less of him, you'll hear more of Daws Butler, but he'll soon do voices for Hanna-Barbera.
He became Hanna-Barbera's big backbone. They were probably already observing Daws was doing all those voices. They probably observed how well the Spike and Tyke dynamic worked with Daws Butler doing all voices. I can see why they would do that.
But we got to talk about Rhode Island Red before we get into the short, because I love this side character. Granted, okay, he's not exactly as well known as, say, the other one-off characters like Pete Puma, but honestly, for one-off appearance, it's definitely a really good one. But one thing people need to be aware of is that these cartoons are old, okay? I still get people on my Facebook page accusing me of lying when I say the release date. No, these are old, okay? And what makes this even older is how Rhode Island Red is dressed up. He's got the raccoon coat, he's got the ukulele, and that's playing up a lot of college life in the Roaring 20s. He even sings Freddie the Freshman, which is a song that's used constantly in Looney Tunes, and this time you actually hear the lyrics. And there's even an early Merry Melody short called Freddie the Freshman as well, and that's in the public domain if you want to check that out.
It was a big motif for cross-stalling for, like, sports or college-type situations.
And also, you hear in certain sayings like 23 Skidoo. That was an older saying as well.
It's almost hilarious to think that Foghorn's supposed to be middle-aged in his cartoon, and yet he's still a big child with his harem.
The two of them are, what, in their late 40s, early 50s, something like that? I just think that's hilarious, and that's why I guess a lot of dads like us, who are middle-aged, probably are drawn towards these Foghorn shorts. But in any case, I had seen this before a few times. Not constantly, but it's one of those ones I do remember because of Rhode Island Red, and I love the fact that these Foghorn shorts are different enough where not all of them have Barnyard Dog, not all of them have Prissy or anything like that. There is enough variety in them, and this is Another good example. And it's the third Foghorn short released in 1956. So, yeah, how about that?
Clearly, he was popular enough that they needed to bring him back. Foghorn himself may have been the justification to keep McKimson around.
And he's still popular to this day. But I reckon we go through this short from start to finish and check out what makes this short at least really decent for this period of time. Starting with, we mentioned later on about Chicken Tech is the college, but apparently Foghorn is holding a flag in the beginning with PU, so yeah. I hope somebody got fired for that blunder. No, that's fine. Usually the title card, whoever's doing him, they sometimes don't get the memo as to what the short exactly is, so I guess they probably just told him to draw Foghorn as though he's in college.
It does fit the 1920s dynamic as well, because that's, again, when he was in college, as we know now.
Yeah. But Foghorn is living the dream. He is in his barnyard. He has a harem. One of the chicks even is playing a wonderful song.
This is living.
If you were wondering what that song is called, the song is called Sometimes. That's by Gus Kahn and Ted Fiorito. And it's got that Italian flavor. I don't know if they're playing up the whole thing with the sword and sandal epics that were coming out at the time. I don't know. Maybe it's coincidence. It's a nice little opening. So what does Foghorn receive?
Telegram.
Yeah.
I just noticed this. I think it's hilarious that Foghorn is sleeping on bricks. Behind the mattress is actual bricks.
Wow. So he's probably pleasure and pain kind of fella there. We see a different parody of Western Union. We see the Eastern Onion. I mean, I've seen the Western Onion. I've seen Western Bunyan. I've seen so many different variations. I don't think I've seen Eastern Onion before. So that's new.
Old college chum, Rhode Island Red. Stop. We'll drop in on you Friday. Signed Red. Oh, no, not Rhode Island Red. I had enough of that bird-brained loudmouth in college to last me the rest of my life.
But another way they could have gone by this short is actually have Foghorn happy that his friend's coming back, but then his friend is just a changed person from when he was younger or something. But no, I like the twist here. He's just not happy that someone who's more of a loudmouth than he is coming around. He's had enough of him from college. So what does he do? He puts up all these signs of barbed wire outside the fence to not have Fred come over. But look at the signs. How great are they?
I just love how contradictory they are. Beware vicious dog, who we don't even see in this cartoon. Quarantine chickenpox, of course. Out to lunch back 5 years.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, do not open till Christmas. And of course he has to set up the bear traps. And unwelcome.
Yes. And that one saying, go west young man, that was a phrase that was originated in the mid-1800s. And the whole idea was, yeah, there's nothing for you here in Washington, go west young man.
He's in the Eastern Onions region.
Foghorn just doesn't realize that this telegram guy was originally Rhode Island Red himself in disguise. And I do love the fact that he does set up the end gag. So the writer here, Ted Pierce, is done pretty well here in that regard.
Yeah, I love the surprise reveal of Red. And again, he just shouts, "Here's Red!"
It comes across like a sitcom type thing where there'll be like a guest star or some really popular side character sitcom saying, "Hey, how's it going?" And then you hear the audience cheer and all that.
Ted Pierce was starting to watch too much TV by this point.
I would say so. That's how it comes across. He does the whole jokey thing, so he must have been a real fun character back in college. He got the handshake with the electrical shock, the fake carnation in the lapel.
I wore a carnation, so you'd know me. Har, har, hardy, har, har.
Yeah, just the usual stuff to show off how annoying Red actually is. And sure enough, he notices this harem, and he's pretty happy with that. He's like, hey, I'm going to impress these chicks by singing a song popular in the 1920s, which makes it even funnier to me.
Yeah, I guess he didn't really age that much. And of course, Foghorn knows he just has to get rid of this guy, especially as he realizes that the chicks have divided their attention away from him.
Who's got all the girlies chasing him around? Freddie the freshman, the freshest kid in town.
But just to put these into context, him singing Freddie the freshman to these women to try and woo them would be the equivalent of me trying to attract a harem of women for some weird reason by singing a song from the 1980s. Then again, that is how I wooed my wife, sang some 80s ballad, so there you are. The secret is out.
Who wrecks all the parties, turns them upside down. Freddie the freshman, the freshest kid in town. He plays the ukulele, he plays the saxophone, and the pretty babies just won't leave him alone. Who got bounced at Harvard, Princeton, Yale, and Brown? Freddie the freshman, the freshest kid in town.
Foghorn just sets up this contraption to take Rhode Island Red's picture.
Yeah, and I like the fact that they do two things with this whole camera gag. The first one is one where he sets it up so the boxing glove was going to hit Red and knock him in, but no, it doesn't quite work, and Foghorn ends up going into the actual hole himself.
Well, squeeze it!
That's sort of the gag that made me think this needed to be animated before the shutdown, when he had much more lively animators to capture this sort of energy. Because it is a funny gag, it's just not handled that well, I have to say, unfortunately.
I mean, I do like the saying, this does make up for it.
I thought I had a sitting duck, but turned out he had a pigeon.
They do continue on with the camera bit, which I liked, and the fact that Red is like, come on, are you going to take my picture or what? And Foghorn gets behind the camera with a double-barrel shotgun. The saying here, some of you may not be aware of this, but Red says,
Hold my camera. How do you like that? Double lenses. Stereopticon, no doubt.
so a stereopticon's like a slide projector, and it has two lenses, and it actually projected like a stereo image, which had a lot more depth to it.
It was a popular thing in the 1920s. It was like their Viewmaster at the time.
They actually dated back from the mid-19th century onwards, but they were still in use anyway around that time. The shotgun backfires by, of course, Red just sticking his fingers in the shotgun.
Hold it. Ugh, what a sloppy mess. You better go tidy up.
I love what happens here, though, that Red, he takes a peek, he's like, oh, this is, ugh, what a sloppy mess. You gotta fix yourself up. It's so gruesome, apparently.
Yeah, I think it would have just been funny if they left it at the gruesome reaction, that little grunt that Rhode Island, but it's still funny. I like
thought it
that
was
Foghorn just keeps completely still, and of course we get to him just going around more with the gals.
So Red asks the hens, oh, do you want to see their star halfback at Chicken Tech in action?
Charming gals are just dying to see the star halfback at Chicken Tech in action.
It even gets Foghorn to do an old football play, the 23 Skidoo. Red gets that cassava melon. Now, what is it with those melons? Because we see cassava melons in so many of these Foghorn shorts written by Ted Pierce. I don't know.
I guess that's the kind of farm he envisioned them on. It is just funny that he just conveniently has the costume ready just to be a douche, and he gets so energetic to go get back into it, and he knocks over Foghorn while saying his catchphrase again, "Here's Red!"
Team, here comes Red! Come on, Foggy, get off the dime. Let's show him the old 23 Skidoo play.
The long pass?
Right.
66, 32, 23, Skidoo.
Foghorn sticks a dynamite that just happens to be this big container there of explosives just out in the open like that. Red actually catches this melon, but he quickly yells out punt formation, and Foghorn gets it. But I love his face after it explodes. That expression kills me. And him saying, I goofed.
I goofed.
Yeah. He looks like a Muppet because he has no beak.
We get to the next bit, which is to do with golf, and he actually challenges him. And I like the fact that Red says, I practically invented this game, as he's taking off his coat to reveal that he somehow was ready to play a golf game.
Why, you're talking to the man who practically invented the game. Give me a mashy niblick.
He has all these uniforms underneath this one coat.
I guess he's just practicing tuning his ukulele while he's there, but I don't think young people played golf in the 20s, just hit at the middle-age aspect, so I guess they wisely accounted that the audience by this point would think of them as being middle-aged.
And that saying that he says, hand me a mashy niblick, that's just a term that was used for a particular type of club, which I looked into, and apparently that's like the equivalent of a 7-iron. I'm not a golfer, so I'm sure you guys will know what that is if you happen to play golf. Either way, it is an old term saying for one of the golf clubs.
Once again, we have a 1-2 with this gag where he has to test it himself to make sure what happened.
Now, I'll take the flag and set it up for you.
Okay. Am I in form today? 4!
This gag definitely gets plussed. So you got the thing which, you know what to expect. Red hits it, doesn't work, but of course it works when it shouldn't. Foghorn comes back here, just has to test it out, and, well, yeah. He ends up...
I will say in this bit, though, Foghorn going back and forth over the hill is really badly done. I hate to say it. It just feels wrong, the speed and the scale that Foghorn changes as he runs back and forth. I don't know what was up with that.
Honestly, because the gag is so funny to me, I found that I actually didn't really notice it too much.
This is something that you notice when your eyes are taken away from the main action, because you're supposed to be focused on Rhode Island Red at that moment.
Again, lower budgets and lesser animators, quote unquote, not much we can really do, but we get a payoff to the whole telegram bit at the end where Foghorn decides, why did I think of this sooner? And he disguises himself in the same costume that Red used earlier. You'd think Red would go, wait a minute, why do you look like me? But anyway, we'll put that aside. Apparently there's a large inheritance by a shyster lawyer. A shyster is someone who just does fraudulent and unethical things. So yeah, I guess someone doesn't really like lawyers. But here's the thing, Foghorn could have just let him leave. He was ready to go, and that was it. But Foghorn must have really been pissed off at Red throughout this whole thing. He just has to give him a quote-unquote gift.
Make sure he never comes back, even after he realizes he's been shambled.
I just love the fact that he gives him a quote-unquote bowling ball. And what killed me was the fact that here's a clock which tells you the time to bowl. It's just...
Yeah.
That just killed me.
I like the fact that if you look very closely as he leaves and the camera shakes, he still has the barbed wire up on the fence.
Wow, yeah, I actually didn't even notice that. Wow. But yeah, Foghorn detonates the bomb, and what does Red say?
He says, with friends like you, I don't need enemies. Yeesh! Which sort of became a common closer for McKimson at this point. And he just reflected how he felt about making cartoons at this point.
Who knows? But we end right there.
This one's fairly short at the very least. It doesn't have too much going on, but what goes on is at least enjoyable. Nothing terribly new.
Yeah, and this one's fun, and I think what really holds this one up is, again, the different character. Rhode Island Red is a different kind of foil for Foghorn, and it's done really well here. Yeah, it would have been nice to have the older animators on this one to maybe do it a little bit better, but honestly, aside from that, no, I had a lot of fun. I'm giving it a slightly higher score of 8 out of 10 because of how I just love this character and the ridiculousness of just the fact that he went to college in the 20s and now they're all middle-aged. So yeah, I had fun with this one.
Yeah, I think it's a fun enough title. I'd give it a 7 out of 10 just because even if I did have my criticisms over this, I wasn't really upset over having to watch this.
I could think of way worse things to pass the time. Just put on a few buddy shorts and yeah, you'll probably appreciate this one even more. So there's that. But that'll do for this one. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And until next time, take care.
That's all, folks. Yeesh!
Goodbye, old friend. With a friend like you, I'll never need an enemy. Yeah.